I don't know, call me crazy, but certain things in life baffle me. I am baffled by a couple of things. Let's talk about this, and I'll be back in a minute. But good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Jan. Welcome to another episode on this channel, the Save Money and More with Jan channel. Thank you so much for being here. Really do appreciate everybody. Hope everybody is doing well. I am baffled by a few things in life. Trust me on this. But do you find this baffling too? Perhaps, maybe. Ever hear of some people who have a great income, combined income, perhaps with their, husband, wife, partner, roommate, combined income, whatever, and it is like a seriously decent number, okay, seriously decent six-figure number, okay, and yet and still problems with debt. Have you ever noticed that? And did you ever know some people that are very far away from a six-figure number, and they're dealing with the five-figure number, and it could be way, way, way below, like really way below what they consider the median, if you will. And yet, and still, they manage their income and are able to save. Does that tell anybody something? Well, it baffles me when people have so much money and yet they still end up with money problems. Now, I'm not saying I'm not saying things aren't expensive. Yes, they are. But here's the problem. And here's the part that baffles me. Okay, maybe it's just lack of experience or lack of knowledge, or I don't know, some sort of weird peer pressure into making certain purchases. There comes a time in your life, like where you have to put the high school pom poms down and realize you don't have to have the very best of everything, but making the bank pay for it if it's not even yours yet. See, people are very flimsy in their credit card spending. Some people think that it is a gift. It is a gift from the Lord. I got a credit card, and look how lucky I am. I have this very high uh, ability to use the maximum amount on whatever the balance will be. Credit limit, excuse me, credit limit. No, 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 no. It is not a gift. It is a hindrance. It is meant to be a short term loan. This is where financial understandings, literacies, and stuff like that, terminology needs to be emphasized at home and at school. I say at home because sometimes some parents want the schools to do everything. I'm sorry. Schools are great, schools are important, but parents are the first teachers. And I was a paid for teacher. Okay, so I'm saying this. Parents are the first teachers. Okay, so you have to be a good example to the kids. I mean, you can't expect the school system to do everything. Sorry, sorry, I'm just saying. But they do need to have a plan in place as a program for the kids. I mean, let's think about it. If kids have like not the greatest example with spending habits, what are they going to learn? If parents are the first teacher, what are they going to learn? They're going to usually mirror what they see at home. Okay. Yeah. Then the parents say, well, I didn't have, this education either. Somewhere, somebody has to break the cycle. I mean, this is the way I look at it. I'm sorry. Some may disagree with me. Some may agree with me. And that's okay. We live in a world where some people may agree with me on a topic and some may not. Fine. That's fine. I'm just saying, that, hey, everybody's got to do their part. See, that's the bottom line. Everybody's got to do their part because it breaks my heart when I see young adult people struggling to figure out their financial way, making big, big decisions to take out big, 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 crazy loans at what, 17, 18? What? Really? Come on. I'm just saying. I do believe though, let's make something clear. When one borrows money from anyone at any place, whether it's a bank, whether it's a personal loan, got to pay it back. That's how it works. Now, if the person helping you out says, this is not a loan, this is a gift, and puts it in writing, Says this is like if it's a grand amount of money, make sure they put it in writing. It's a gift. I'm sorry. Yes, a gift is a gift, and a loan is a loan. All right. I just think that fundamental knowledge is getting very unclear, and that's part of the problem. All right. So I'm not going to take credit for the following line because that wouldn't be fair. Someone elsewhere, and I really wish I had the name of this person, but the lettering was too fuzzy. I couldn't see it. It was on my screen on TV, and I'm looking at it. I tried to get the name. Person was observing people that are struggling with debt, and that person said, "This is not coming from me." That person said, "Debt, DEBT, is not the problem." That person very adamantly said, "It is not the problem. Debt is not the problem. It is not an income problem." A lot of people blame their income on why they're in debt. I'm not making enough. I have 3 jobs. I'm still not making enough. Listen, I do believe that that's totally possible that a person could have 3 jobs and they're not making a ton of money. I get that. All right. This is me saying that. But this other person said it is not an income problem. It is a spending problem. Wow. Wow. That could be the answer to my puzzlement and my baffled feelings. You see, it's how we spend what we have. And I get it. When somebody's in their middle 20s, they wanna look optimal best. That's that time where you really care about these things on a whole. I'm not saying that when you're older, you don't care about your looks. I'm not saying that. But it's not the toppest priority. Okay? It's not the utmost. Where like people have to go through this period of time in their life. You have to like learn from experience. Experience out of all the teachers, parents being the first, paid teachers in school being the next, the people around us, okay? But most of all, experience. Life experience is the best teacher. For example, let's say a person lived frivolously for a whole year, okay? A whole year, what they could care less, charge up everything, max out the cards, and then they realize there's no one else that wants to give them a credit card, and they're in debt, DEBT, up to their eyeballs. And they think there's no consequence to it. Oh, well, you're just gonna, bother them in one way or another with a letter or a phone ring or something like that. No, it's a little more than that. Then it goes on to other facets of things, and it could really get really, 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 what's the word? Horrible, in my opinion. And it weighs on the person all the time. See, subconsciously, it weighs on the person all the time. Now, conversely, let's focus on the person who makes an itty bitty pittance of a salary, of an income, and also says, well, I also want to do a little side hustle, make a little, as we used to call it, extra. I don't believe there's anything called extra money anymore. Let's just call it money. But I say extra because it's an additional stream of income. I'll be honest with you today, it's very difficult to live on one income. Gotta have an additional. Got to have an additional. Has anybody noticed a plethora of more and more seniors making videos in general? I did not notice that 5 years ago. I'm glad to see the senior community coming out with their points of views and their life experience, but I wonder sometimes, are they doing it for a hobby or are they doing it for fun? I mean, for fun or hobby, or are they doing it because they need to do it? Because let's say they're on a fixed income and, that's just not cutting the mustard in 2025. Okay. So, all right. So, where are our priorities? This is the problem. For the person who conversely has a mere pittance of an income or just about like squeaking by, they will find ways to always live below their means. And it might be a little bit of a sacrifice or a lot of bit of a sacrifice instead of going to special places all the time. Excuse me, please. Instead of going to special places all the time, um, they may cut it down to once a month instead of every week. Or if they still wanna meet people, find cheaper ways to do it every week. People will find a way. When you get old, you get more resourceful, you have more people that you knew or know in your life or area things or community information. I do feel sorry for people, all of us. There are times that I have to scratch my head and figure, do I should I buy this or should I get that? I could tell you one thing, and this is the great news. There is a ton, and I mean a ton of information out there. There is a ton of information out there for all to get all the information they need because we shouldn't have to be baffled about this. It really isn't about the income. It's about our spending habits. Where are our priorities? Is it about just, I don't know, how we look? Do we have to keep up with the Joneses? Do we have to brag about vacations? There's plenty of time for that. Get your financial affairs in order. I would rather a person like the person that was reckless for that whole year before, and then they end up facing a possible living in a car situation. I saw something the other day, I think I mentioned in an upcoming video, that made my skin crawl. Skin crawl. A person was trying to live in a storage unit. I don't mean a purchased storage unit that they bought and put on their own property or something, which is hard enough, but I mean like a storage unit, like a big place where there are many, many units. Wow. What are we coming to? So please, if you have a credit card, please use it for its intent and purpose. A short-term loan, this is not a gift. You really don't own anything. Bank owns it until you paid it off. If you could put that in your mind, say, I that TV, well, whatever extravagant thing, I'm just using a bright shiny penny, is not 100% mine until that debt, DEBT, is paid off. We need to change our mindset, and we also need to change our priorities. Roof versus fancy looking things, even if you said, well, at least I'll get value from it, I could resell it. Yeah, but when you resell it, it's going to be at a lower price and it depreciates immediately from the time you got it. There's no easy wiggle room. The tried and true old-fashioned way still works. Gotta take out the frugal toolbox. You gotta cut down on expenses, frivolous expenses, and increase your income. Do anything you can to cut a corner. Gotta get out of that break that cycle of DEBT. If there's one thing I'm gonna focus on and have been focusing on, is reminding people that we need to get our priorities straight and spend our money wisely.